There is a lot of information devoted to the study of Sasquatches in the USA. Comparatively, information on the cryptids found in Southeast Asia is sparse and sporadic. In this video, I hope to cover the more famous cryptids in Southeast Asia, as well as some of the lesser-known ones. These include hominid species like the orang Pendek and the Malaysian Bigfoot, aquatic cryptids like orang Ikan, also known as fish man, and the sea serpent of Halong Bay, winged cryptids like Ahool and the orang Bati, and finally, other cryptids that may not fall under these categories. Let's start with Bigfoot-like species. Orang Pendek, meaning short person in Malay, is one of many cryptids said to live in Sumatra's deep rainforests. Described as a bipedal ape-like animal that stands between 3 and 5 feet tall and has dark orange to chocolate brown fur, eyewitnesses say the most shocking thing about it is its human-like face. The indigenous people, Orang Kubu, have described them for centuries, but it came into public awareness when a Dutch settler, Mr. van Heerwaarden, had an encounter with the elusive creature in 1923 while doing land surveying. In 1994, a British zoologist named Debbie Martyr saw the creature for a few seconds at Kerinci Seblet National Park. Since 2004, Adam Davis, a British cryptozoologist, has led 8 expeditions to Sumatra, specifically to this same national park, in search of the orang Pendek. In his 2004 expedition, besides finding footprints, he found hair samples that, after analysis, were found to be similar to other primates but not a perfect match to any known species. In his 2011 expedition, one of his team members and the chief guide managed to catch a glimpse of it. It was squashing its face and body into a tree to remain hidden before escaping into the deep undergrowth. You may not be able to see the orang Pendek face-to-face, but if you happen to be at Bogor, Indonesia, the Bogor Zoology Museum has a small section of exhibits dedicated to the orang Pendek. In the same Sumatran forests, people have reported another ape-like hominid known as orang Gadang, big people, in Malay. Unlike the orang Pendek, though, they are said to stand between 7.5 to 12 feet tall and are covered with bushy dark hair. Like Sasquatches in the USA, they are said to be reclusive, nocturnal, omnivorous, and known to emit whistling sounds and throw stones from hidden locations. Before their appearance, people noticed that the woods would suddenly go quiet. There have been reports of them giving off screams that sound like a woman in distress. Besides orang Pendek, one of the most well-known and documented Bigfoot-like creatures in Southeast Asia is the Malaysian Bigfoot, also known by the names Hantu Jarang Gigi or Ghost with Sparse Teeth or Orang Mawas. Indigenous Orang Asli people call it Orang Dalam, which means the interior people. Many Bigfoot-like creatures in Southeast Asia are treated as spiritual beings by the indigenous people. They are considered protectors of the forest and animals and believed to have supernatural abilities, including the ability to heal the sick. The Malaysian Bigfoot is described as being 6 to 10 feet tall, cloaked in long reddish hair, and with a distinctive odor. The first sightings appeared in the 1950s, but widespread media attention came only in 2005 when video footage was captured of the creature. That led to a total of 3 expeditions to gather information about it, in 2006, 2011, and 2018. During the 2006 expedition lasting about 2 weeks, researchers went around Johor, where sightings were reported, to collect physical samples and conduct interviews with the locals. Hair, feces, and footprint casts were some of the physical samples collected in that expedition. The hair was sent for DNA analysis, and though the results were inconclusive, they did indicate that the hair likely came from a primate species. The 2011 expedition lasted about 2 weeks, and researchers used sophisticated equipment like camera traps and audio recording devices. The focus of exploration was on Indau Rompan National Park. The 2018 expedition was a month long, and researchers used similar equipment as the 2011 expedition, but this time they went to the Gunung Pulai Forest Reserve. In both the 2011 and 2018 expeditions, the team found large footprints and broken branches in the area and heard unusual vocalizations and unexplained movements in the forest. Overall, the Malaysian Bigfoot seems to be most active in the state of Johor, particularly at the Indau Rompan National Park, Gunung Pulai Forest Reserve, and the Kota Tinggi Forest. However, sightings have also been documented in other states of Pahang, Terengganu, and Selangor. Even in recent years, sightings of the Malaysian Bigfoot continue. For example, in 2020, a group of hikers reported seeing the Bigfoot in the Gunung Pulai Forest Reserve, making strange guttural noises. Moving on to the Indochina region of Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, Batutut, Ujit, or Nuoi Rung has been sighted. It is described as being between 4 to 6 feet tall and is most commonly sighted in the Vu Quang nature reserves within the Annamite mountain range. The female Batutut is described as having extremely sagging breasts. There is no doubt that the Vu Quang nature reserves could hide an unknown creature. As late as 1992, a new mammal species called the Saola was discovered in this nature reserve. Unlike other Bigfoot-like creatures, the Batutut is known to be very aggressive. There is suspicion that it was responsible for some deaths of humans in the past. Humans were found disemboweled in the forests with their livers missing. The Bukit Timah monkey man, also known as the Singapore Bigfoot, is the final Bigfoot-like creature in Southeast Asia I want to mention. For those who think of Singapore as a small country, it may come as a surprise that it once hosted a Bigfoot-like creature. However, the last reported sighting was in the 1960s, when there was still substantial forest cover. If you're enjoying this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Moving on to lake and sea cryptids, the first one I want to talk about is the Tasek Merimbun monster, located in a lake in the Bukit district of Brunei. The local people call it the white crocodile and believe that it's a guardian spirit of the lake. Its appearance is often taken as a warning of impending troubles. It's described as snake-like, about 10 to 15 meters long, with a head like a crocodile or dragon, and glowing red eyes. Most sightings are by fishermen in the area, and they occur at night or in the early morning. The latest public report was in 2017. Another lake monster that is often talked about is the Naga, found in the Mekong River. It's a snake-like, scaly creature that is about 30 to 40 feet long. In Halong Bay of Vietnam, there have been reports of a sea serpent, with the earliest sightings reported in 1890 and the most recent one in 2010. It can be as much as 15 to 20 meters long, 49 to 65 feet, 30 to 40 centimeters in diameter, with a snake-like head and a strong fishy odor. To round off the lake and sea monster category, there is the orang Ikan, also known as the fish man or man-fish. It's said to inhabit the waters around Malaysia and Indonesia, and it's around 1.5 to 2 meters long, with a fish head, scales, and gills, but a humanoid body. When a group of fishermen in the Malaysian state of Johor claimed to have caught a fish man in their net in 1961, it became one of the most well-known sightings of the orang Ikan. They said that the monster could breathe both underwater and above the surface, possessed green scales, and had webbed hands and feet. They also claimed that when it was seized, it made a peculiar, high-pitched whistle. The creature, nevertheless, managed to get away from their net and sank back beneath the surface. In 2016, a group of fishermen saw one swimming near their boat in the waters off Sabah, Malaysia. In 2018, a group of divers saw one swimming near a coral reef in Bali, Indonesia. In 2019, a group of villagers saw one swimming near the shore off Tempat, Malaysia. Moving on to winged cryptids, there are two noteworthy ones in Southeast Asia, the Ahool and orang Bati. Ahool is seen in the high mountain jungles of Java, Indonesia. They are about 4 to 5 feet in height, with a wingspan of up to 10 feet and are covered in gray fur. Some people describe them as a giant bat, while others call them a flying primate because of their bat-like and chimpanzee-like facial features. The name Ahool is derived from their signature loud distinct cry. In the nearby island of New Guinea, they have a close cousin called ropen. The orang Bati is another flying cryptid found in the little-known Indonesian island of Seram. It is said to still haunt the villagers at night and is known to kidnap and eat children in the villages. They are approximately 5 feet in height, have black leathery wings, red skin, and a long tail. They are also said to emit a mournful wail while preying on humans. Finally, I will be discussing the remaining cryptids that do not fall into the above categories, the Kting Voar, the Vio, and the Cigau. The Kting Voar, often referred to as Kting Voar or the snake-eating cow, is believed to exist in Vietnam and Cambodia. It is described as a huge bovid mammal with massive horns, shaggy, dark fur, and a noticeable hump on its back, similar to a water buffalo or bison. Kting Voar is rumored to feed on snakes and other small creatures, as its name suggests. Several genetic studies were done in the late 1990s and early 2000s based on horn specimens obtained. Unfortunately, the conclusion from these studies was that the horns were merely domestic cattle horns shaped by humans to serve as anti-snake talismans. The Vio is described as a large pangolin about the size of a horse, 10 feet, and is said to dwell on the island of Rinca, Indonesia. It is scaly with fur growing on the head, throat, belly, inner legs, and tail. Making sounds of hoo-hoo-hoo, it comes out at night to feed on termites, ants, and shellfish. No known modern pangolins grow to the size of the Vio, but there used to be a large pangolin known as Manus paleojavanicus that could grow up to 8 feet on the islands of Java and Borneo, which went extinct many millennia ago. Cryptozoologists believe that perhaps a small population somehow survived to modern times. The last cryptid I will talk about in this video is the Cigau, also called the Sumatran golden lion. It's often described as a liger, or a cross between a lion and tiger. Golden in color, without stripes or spots, it has a ruff of long fur on its neck. It's smaller than a tiger but looks heavier. It's also known to be highly aggressive. It's reported to have killed a human in the late 1960s. Living in the same region as orang Pendek, it had been sighted mainly in the town of Bangko and Mount Kerinci in Sumatra, Indonesia. If you know of any other cryptids in Southeast Asia that were not covered in this video, please share them in the comments below.